What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is it. This is the penultimate episode of F1 2020 Career Mode, episode number 106 for the Japanese Grand Prix. And as you can tell by the title, we have some big news. Carlos Sainz has announced his retirement from Formula One. Now, I still see Carlos as a pretty young guy. You've got to remember that this is the 2026 season. So Carlos is well into his 30s by this point. So I guess that's pretty realistic. But we've still got some old geezers kicking about here and there. I wonder if in anyone's career mode they've had Lando Norris retire or Max Verstappen. That's when you know you've played too much career mode. But anyway, we're here for the penultimate episode. And yeah, soak it in because it's been a good game. It has been a really good series. I've really enjoyed this. Making your own team, taking them all the way to the top. We've had a bit of a roller coaster ride. And I'm glad that I've been able to share it with you guys. But we'll do the dance for one more time after this episode. Anyway, we got some upgrades coming in. I don't know if you saw or I don't know if I've done it already. I think I have done it already on screen. Ultimate tire wear upgrade for the chassis, and that's going to be a game changer for the final two races if we can get those on board. We did have an engine power upgrade fail. We're rectifying that on the way into this Grand Prix. We have some kind of a season break of sorts before Japan, which makes no sense. I swear we've had about 3 season breaks at this point. But there we go. That's the perks of a 10-race calendar. We have some big breaks and some factory shutdowns in between time. Who knows? There might be a period in Formula One where that's a thing. But the way things are going, it's more likely we're going to have a 30-race calendar than a 10-race calendar. Anyway, fuel efficiency upgrade going on. That's to make the car lighter in an attempt to save some weight in the race, make it a little bit more competitive. We're going to skip the invitational event. We don't need the acclaim. We don't need the money. Clearly, we don't. We're 200 mil in the green. So, yeah, a measly little invitational event isn't going to do us anything at this point in our career. So, yeah, weather-wise, we're going to have some rain for practice 3. I don't often do practice 3 anyway, so we're not going to get any wet running. No rain interruptions for quali or the race to expect, so we should have a pretty dry run. In terms of the car development, we're the best car now, again, in Formula 1. We've absolutely leapfrogged past Mercedes to be the best car. However, I don't think that's going to translate into qualifying with that ultimate tire upgrade. We won't see those gains materialize until we get deep into the race, where the long stints will prove to be beneficial for us. Anyway, practice was pretty fruitful for us. Topped out practice 1. Here we go for practice 2, doing a qualifying run. And whoopsie, that was me throwing the car in a little bit too deep into the first 2 corners. And one thing I actually did find out I was doing wrong was I loaded a Brazil setup for the first quali session. Realized I was running 2.6 wings, which was too low for this circuit. Loaded the Japan setup, which I only recently ran in a league race not long ago, which is 2.7 wings, and that gave me the stability that I needed to kick on with the session and top it out by 7/10 over Alexander Albon. Nicholas Latifi sandbagging on the mediums. He, though, is going to be a big threat to our prospects of winning this race up against, Albon. So, yeah, Latifi is going to be a force to be reckoned with for those ultimate tire upgrades. Now with him qualifying, hopefully further up the order in the best car, we'll see what he can do in good equipment. But yeah, championship-wise, I think we're 9 points behind Alexander Albon. So, yeah, we ultimately need to beat Albon in this race. Ideally ahead of Kvyat too, but the AlphaTauris are looking quick. So here we go then for qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix. I haven't mentioned it so far, but this is actually a really tough circuit for the player. I do remember in this game, but also previous games like 2019 and 2018, this being a very difficult track to get on top of your opponents. So I think this is going to be, again, a round which Nicholas Latifi will be able to really shine now in the best car, with us potentially not being up there. I don't think we're going to be fighting for pole in qualifying, but I do hope that we'll be able to contest for the race win. There's our first run. It looks pretty dire. We're 5/10 back, but we did a time early on in Q1, and we only threw one set of tires at it, so I'm not too stressed as we move into the more crucial parts of the weekend. Q2, we got third place, a little bit further away from our teammate this time. Nicholas Latifi really stepping up a gear ahead of Albon in P2. But we're going to move into Q3 in just a second. And I opted not to do a run on the mediums. I didn't feel like we had the same pace advantage that we did in Monza. I just didn't have that same confidence. And we saw that maybe wasn't the greatest strategy to do, because I really was lacking pace in the last episode at the start of the race. Thankfully, it came good for us at the end. But yeah, I just don't see any scenario where qualifying on mediums on a poor track for us potentially would be a good idea. Anyway, Lando is on the pace for Renault. I think Renault and one of the team, might have been McLaren, made huge strides in terms of upgrades heading into this race. So they might be in the mix as a potential dark horse in this race through the spoon curve. The car feels pretty phenomenal at this stage. We still have more downforce upgrades, which I'd like to do, but I think we're just going to run out of time in this career mode to get them all maxed out and on the car. Anyway, up to the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 22.933. A tenth away from our teammate in provisional pole position. We're going to go out again and do one final run to hopefully better the time and get ourselves inside the top 3. But unfortunately, the game had other ideas. We left with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the session. Ample time to get out there, given it's a 80-second lap time. But no, yeah, we got screwed there, and we didn't have enough time to start the session, the final lap. So it's P7. Latifi on pole. In the end, the margins are a lot closer than what they were earlier on in the weekend. Only a tenth to Kvyat, who was second in the standings. But crucially, Albon is only starting one place ahead of me, so he's within touching distance, and I will take that on a circuit which is arguably not strong for us. So heading into the race, ideally, let's just focus on beating Albon. We'll try and get in the top 3. We'll try and win the race if we can, but the main objective today is beating Alex Albon.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's talk about Day. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
They've been avoiding mistakes and have had solid pace, so it's been a good season so far, but whether they can keep that up long term remains to be seen.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Nicholas Latifi lines up on pole position, and Daniel Kvyat lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Gasly, Max Verstappen, and Albon, Day, Bottas, Aitken, and George Russell, Vettel, Ocon, Carlos Sainz, and Stroll, Hubert, Magnussen, Nick De Vries, and Charles Leclerc, Ireland, Matsushita, Giovinazzi, and Mick Schumacher. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Thanks, Jeff. We're ready then for the Japanese Grand Prix. 9 points in the championship. Danny Kvyat starting up the front. There's lots to play for. Let's hope that our teammate Nicholas Latifi can do us a solid and keep our championship rivals off of first place and 25 points. I think he'll be fine with the ultimate tire wear upgrades. I think it's just a case of maintaining the lead for him, and he should be absolutely fine. But in terms of our strategy, we are going to do the soft today. Soft to medium. We're going to take some fuel out. We do have some fuel efficiency upgrades, which went on in time for this race. So I expect we'll be able to recover plenty of fuel to see us home. Here we go then for the penultimate race of career mode on F1 2020. We are underway, and it looks like a great start from Alex Albon. Draws alongside Max Verstappen and gets himself up into P5. There goes Bottas on the inside, down into turn 1. Tried to squeeze around the outside, and unfortunately, I've given myself a warning already on lap 1. That's not great. It's a long old race. Thankfully, though, it's not the kind of track that is a pain for track limits. It's not Monza. It's not a Canada. We can get away without getting a penalty. So we just need to make sure we rein it in for the rest of the race, and we should be fine. Anyway, getting close to Bottas into the triple chicane, the final chicane. They call it the Casio triangle there, and yeah, we're pretty strong there. We can mount a lot of curb, and we've got good rotation through there. We're going around the outside of Bottas, who is having to defend quite heavily. Around the outside of turn 1, it gives us the big squeeze. We stay within the bounds of the track. That avoids a warning. We're still side by side. We have the inside for the next left-hander. Bottas is still hanging in there, really fighting hard for his teammate, for his championship hopes. And there we go. We finally get the job done, and we're into P7? P7, I think, now in this Japanese Grand Prix. Look at the side-by-side battling. Very, very hard to do so when the car is so heavy with fuel on used soft compound tires. We have got the job done. And now we are back where we started, that being P7. All that hard work, and yeah, we've undone the bad start into turn 1. Anyway, we're going to grind, see if we can get close to Max Verstappen, hopefully get past him. I'd imagine with these ultimate tire wear upgrades, we're going to be very, very fast at the back end of this soft compound stint especially. But I think the medium compound stint as well will be able to finish strong as well, given that's going to be like a 30 lap stint on that one set of tires. So this isn't going to be easy. We might see some teams doing 2 stops. We might see all teams doing 2 stops. Maybe it's only our team that can do a 1 stop. That remains to be seen. But the plan is to do a 1 stop. And either way, great tire wear is going to bode very, very well for you in a 100% race. So I'm going to bide my time. We are, for the time being, we have been in lean revs. Just bringing the fuel back under control. Here we're deploying a lot of ERS and rich fuel mixture. Trying to go the inside of Verstappen! I should have gave up a lot earlier than that. The top end speed of that Red Bull was pretty strong in the slipstream. I didn't want to give up on that. But in the end, we had to. Otherwise, that would have been an Ayrton Senna Alan Prost moment. Down into turn 1. And we live to fight another day. This time, though, on the back straight, the slipstream is pretty crazy. Even without DRS, we got the inside of Verstappen. We've surprised him. I think I've surprised myself, to be honest. And it's side by side, round the outside through the last corner. And we're now up into 6th place. That's the ultimate brake upgrade coming in clutch for us there. Big old dive bomb on Verstappen, who probably wasn't really focused on us at that point of the circuit. He was looking ahead to the 2 cars battling. And we've got him. But meanwhile, Danny Kvyat has a problem. He's actually lost 2nd place, and he's dropped behind his teammate, Pierre Gasly, and is falling like a stone through water in this Grand Prix. So that's him just up the road at the head of this train, currently holding up Lando Norris. We fast forward onto the next lap, and now Lando has DRS and slipstream. He's up in a rich and overtake, and there he goes, round the outside on the start-finish straight. Lando is now on the podium with a big old lockup and probably a warning against his name in this Japanese Grand Prix. So yeah, Lando really qualified well. He got P5 in quali, moved forward off the start, and is looking like he's showing the business, as Daniel Ricciardo was doing in earlier seasons, finally delivering on that Renault potential. It's a shame this is the second last episode, because well, we're not going to see any more of that storyline from Renault. Always there and threatening in the odd race or 2, but we're never quite consistent enough to really mount for a championship threat, which is a real shame. AlphaTauri, though, living up fully to their potential and might even win the Constructors this season. They are a long way ahead, or a decent way ahead of us. Anyway, Albon. Looks like he's struggling to get past his former Red Bull team family member of Danny Kvyat. We had a bit of a moment through the spoon curve. That's why I lost all composure there. Albon trying to go around the outside of Kvyat. Looks like he's struggling for straight line speed. I've washed out wide with understeer. That's my second warning of the race. We got the inside of both of them. We've got 2 in 1 go. We got a warning though. But in the end, we've got 2 positions, and that could prove to be crucial for our championship. Look at this, a mistake from us. Washed out wide. Albon, too conservative. Kvyat obviously nursing problems, braking early, not really living up to the potential of that car, and we made the most of that fully. Here's the replays, and Albon was half having a look, but then he backed out of it. We seized that opportunity, and now we're up in a P4 in this Japanese Grand Prix. How crazy is this? That ultimate brake upgrade has been so good for us in the last couple of races. Meanwhile, next corner, Albon under pressure from the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, who now goes round the outside of Danny Kvyat. Verstappen now is not really a threat in the championship. He's had so many bad races in a row. Don't know what's going on with Red Bull. They were looking like the favourites all season, and then they've just stopped developing the car. They've had some misfortune. Things just aren't really going their way, and the momentum has just completely dropped from those guys. And it's been picked up consequently by Danny Kvyat, who is now, well, up to this point, been a really good shout for the championship. But with this problem today, that could ultimately end his championship. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Verstappen looking for a move on Albon. Albon runs wide, and now they're running side by side through turns 1 and 2. If Max can get Albon here, that's going to help me massively in the championship. Here he goes round the outside through the S-curves. You never see side-by-side action in real F1 here, but it's great to see that we get it in the game. Even though the game has dirty air too, these guys somehow making it work. Anyway, catching up to Lando Norris now. He has been quite the surprise package this weekend with the major upgrades from Renault. He's now in the podium positions, or shall I say, he was in the podium positions. Completely doing round the outside there, and we're now up in the 3rd place. I think at this point, we've just got so much more grip than he does. Tyre wear really phasing into his pace, or lack of pace at this stage. And, you know, we're only getting stronger relative to our rivals around us. Gasly is up next, 2.7, 2.6, 2.2 seconds up the road now, as Lando makes an early stop for a new set of tyres. That's pretty early. I think he might be doing a 2-stop. Meanwhile, Albon struggling. He's now getting overtaken by Bottas through the middle sector, but it looks like Albon's fight and determination to stay ahead is going to prove to be too strong for Bottas to handle, and has to bide his time for now. So, 2 championship rivals really struggling. They're really in the mud today, with Kvyat still falling down the order with that car problem. Albon, no such excuse, maybe just not as good on his tyres or something. He just seems to be going backwards. We're now coming in at the end of this lap on lap 19, and this is going to be an undercut on our teammate Latifi, who's 11 seconds up the road, by the way. So he is absolutely checking out in this race. You give him the equipment, and he's delivering. So I've said this many times, but Latifi is shaping up to be the best teammate we've had in his very short Marduk Motorsport career. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what he does long term. I'm thinking about doing a video where I simulate the rest of the seasons in this career mode, just to finally see off this career mode journey. Let me know if that's something you want to see, and if you do, shall we keep Latifi to see what he can do? See if he wins a championship. We'll discuss that at the end of the finale. But regardless, we have a bit of a battle on our hands. We're catching up to Pierre Gasly, who's catching up to Lance Stroll, who needs to make another stop in this race. And here we go. We're going to see if we can get Gasly as well as Stroll on this straight. Slipstream, rich fuel mixture, overtake, fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Stroll has no DRS, and so we glide past him with ease. Gasly proved to be a bit more tricky. He did have DRS, so I guess I can't really expect too much there. We'll bide our time for now and hopefully get him on this next lap if we can get close enough to him in the braking zone, down into the Casio Triangle. I really make up a lot of time through this third sector, and it's ultimately down to how much I mount the curbs and how good the rotation is as well on top of that. I'm really quite OP there. But anyway, up in a reach and overtake. There we go. We're just fast at the right parts of the circuit, which enables us to get the job done. So we haven't really set up the car for being fast in the first sector through the high-speed S-curves. It's not an overtaking zone of the circuit. That's great for qualifying. But when it comes to the race, you want to be fast in the right areas. So we've got really good low-speed rotation, and we've got low-ish downforce. 2.7 wings enable us to overtake. It enables us to overtake when we need to. But anyway, here's Lando. He's on the soft compound tires again. And that ultimately confirms to me he's doing a two-stop in this race. Trying to go up in a reach and overtake to try and overtake him on a straight line. But again, not close enough. I wasted so much ERS there to try and get ahead down into turn 1. But the straight line speed of the Renault is crazy. That must be what they've done in terms of upgrades heading into this race. They've at least done an ultimate and maybe a major upgrade as well, because that was a massive uptake in performance that they've received heading into Japan. So if I had to put my finger on it, I'd probably say it's drag reduction, because the top end speed was ridiculous. But anyway, Lando, although he's quite fast, his car is quite twitchy. I was following him through the first sector, and I noticed just the front end was just a little bit heavy. And we got to the low speed hairpin just a few seconds ago, and he was really oversteery there. So looks like my car's not great on its tires, hence why he's doing a two-stop. But anyway, we're in the slipstream. We will have DRS on the next straight. We just got to set it up here at the Casio Triangle, mount the first curb, opens up the radius of the second corner, the final corner anyway, and yeah, it enables us to be so much closer to Lando. And there we go, up in a reach and overtake. Pretty simple pass, and that is job done. In the second place now, and we're about halfway through the Grand Prix at this stage. Gap to Latifi is 8 seconds, so he did get an undercut on Latifi, but since switching on the new tyres, we've actually been quite fast. One thing that's worth mentioning as well, the end of the first stint, I was starting to lose time, surprisingly. I was slower than Gasly in the last lap or two of that soft compound tyre stint, but chucking on the new tyres, we're absolutely golden. We feel like the fastest person on track. In fact, we are the fastest person on track. And, you know, at this phase of the Grand Prix, I really settled into a nice groove. I was quite efficient in the way that I was driving. I was pushing, but I wasn't taking too much life out of the tires. I was just stroking it along in a really nice rhythm, which was great. I think I really found the sweet spot in this car in this very race. We're catching up to Latifi, who is consequently caught up to some lap cars, dealt with them now, and now we're having to push through them ourselves, and the gap is... we've lost about a second to Latifi getting through that traffic. But regardless, we are catching up to Latifi. The gap was 10, 11 seconds before the first round of pit stops, and now it's down to 4 seconds. So gradually, as this Grand Prix has gone on, we've got stronger and stronger. And that's just down to the low downforce nature of our setup, working better as we burn off that fuel. But I think we do have to be a little bit concerned about the tyre drop-off towards the end of the race, particularly on our teammate, because you've got to remember, he's got the ultimate tyre wear upgrades as well. So I'm trying to push, I'm trying to catch him, like I said, trying to drive efficiently, because I still need to have something left at the end of the race to actually overtake him. So, yeah, we're pumping in a few fastest laps, but it's worth mentioning I've got a DRS issue. It failed a few laps ago, so it means if we do get within a second of Latifi, it's not going to be able to be activated until the team fix it. So that's quite ironic. Maybe the team's done some self-sabotage there. But why would they? That's a 3-second time penalty for us. With 11 laps to go in this Japanese Grand Prix, another fastest lap of the race rolls in. But that's the last thing we really needed. We had 2 warnings. We saw them. One on Bottas at turn 1, lap 1. The second warning came from running wide at 130R in the dirty air of a couple of cars. And now that was our first legit corner cut of the race, and now we got a 3-second time penalty on a circuit which really it's quite difficult to get track limit warnings for. So that's just great. But anyway, I'm now trying to push quite hard, maybe overdriving the car at this stage, trying to catch up to Latifi because we need to win, and we need to win by 3 seconds. But it's difficult, you know, because I even though I'm pumping in personal bests every lap, Latifi is actually getting stronger. His tyre wear is potentially better than mine, and it's becoming a real grind. We've got 5 laps to go. I was catching Latifi by so much about 10 laps to go. Sometimes it was like half a second a lap, maybe a little bit more. But now I'm only catching him by 1 or 2 tenths a lap, if that. Despite still setting fastest laps of the Grand Prix, still going faster, still burning off fuel, Latifi, I think maybe has been managing the gap to us. I think maybe he's been saving his tyres for a last stint battle, essentially. We're now heading onto the last lap. I'm now throwing caution to the wind now because I've already got a penalty. I've got a couple of warnings up my sleeve. So that was one that we took, a liberty that we took. Latifi, though, chucks in a fastest lap of the race on the penultimate lap just to really throw it in my face. So that confirms to me our teammate has absolutely been pulling the strings in this race. He has been managing the gap, managing his pace, looking after the tyres, and now he's like, all right, Ben, you thought you were going to win this Grand Prix. Now I'm really just going to crush your hopes. Because look at how much he's pulled away on this first half a lap already. The gap was like 1.5, 1.6 seconds. He's already gapped me by like 6 tenths. At least in this first half of the lap. It's been pretty ridiculous, and the gap still continues to rise. So he's been saving ERS, he's been saving tyres, he's been saving fuel, and now he's absolutely going for it. He's got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix against his name, and I'd imagine with how fast he's going, he's going to set a stratospherically good lap time here. Because even I'm going faster, but Latifi, the gap is nearly 3 seconds. It's ridiculous. This man's absolutely flying. We're still going personal best to the middle sector by a 1/10.5 through the final chicane. Nicholas Latifi is going to get his first win in Formula 1, and by some margin. Look at how fast he is.
Guys, racing
we
now.
got it! Holy shit! Jesus, take the wheel.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
Anyway, I wanted to win, but good day for the championship. We gained a bunch of points on Kvyat and Albon.
Another action-packed Japanese Grand Prix comes to an end. And what a magnificent drive to take the win here today. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
Well done. That's actually a really impressive drive from Latifi. I thought I was going to walk away with this Grand Prix in the second half of the race, but then he cruelly took those hopes away from me. I kind of took them away from myself with the penalty, which really put an end to things. But even still, without the penalty, I didn't have the pace or consistency right at the end to go that extra mile and get Latifi. So yeah, he was really fast. I think maybe without the DRS issue, if we would have got some DRS off of some of those lap cars that we were overtaking, maybe that could have pushed us within a second of him. And you know, if we get the move done earlier in the race, we might have had more to defend with. But you know, at the end of the day, we're leading the championship by 9 points. I got so wrapped up in the battle with Latifi that I completely forgot about the fact that I'm in a great position in the championship. We're 9 points clear of Albon and Kvyat, who are tied on points, heading into the final race ever of F1 2020 career mode. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So I could have pushed for comfort. I could have settled for second. But I wanted to push for more. I wanted to get that race win. I wanted to get the fastest lap. I'm so competitive in this car. And I wanted to make the most of the time that we have left in this game. But regardless, it's been a good day nonetheless. GG's to Latifi. Very, very strong teammate. We're going to need performances like that in the finale if we are to keep the Mercedes and the AlphaTauris at bay, and maybe even make a claim for the constructors. We are very much an outside chance, but we got a 1-2 today. We got the maximum points. If we get another 1-2, did I say Abu Dhabi earlier? I think it's Brazil we're racing at, sorry. If we get a maximum points finish again in the next race, anything's possible. So we'll do our best, but ultimately that was a good race. A great recovery. We did gain so much time on Latifi, but at the end of the day, we saw how much he was managing the gap. All round, great race, great team performance, and we're heading into the final race of the series with the momentum. Let's see if we can come away with the drivers. Let's see if we can come away with the constructors. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's enjoy the final race of career mode at Brazil. Hopefully, they won't be too far away.
We live to fight another day, boys.